land. So my name is Stasia, and I am a trainer for Google. I've been training for Google since, gosh, it's been almost 20 years now. And I started training about Google AdWords back when it was AdWords. And for the last more than 10 years, I've been focused on teaching businesses, small and medium-sized businesses mostly, how to use Google's products and services and grow their businesses. And I'm really excited to be here, invited from the conference today, to talk to you a little bit about artificial intelligence and how you can use it to support and grow your businesses. I'm going to try to take questions from people, although admittedly, it's pretty loud. And if I don't get to answer your question during the session, I'm going to stick around. So I'll be here from between this session and the next session at 1 o'clock. So come up and see me, give me your business card, and I'll be happy to talk to you more. Okay, so today, this is our session. We're going to talk about making AI work for you. How many of you, just raise your hand, how many of you feel like you're drowning in your to-do lists? Right? It's all of us. It is just like, and it feels like it's just kind of picking up steam. And every day we're like, why do we just want to focus on the stuff that we love? And so I presume that you're here in today's class because you're interested in learning how AI can help you get through that and get through that list more quickly. So here's what I want you to do when you're taking my class or any other AI class is to reframe the question. Rather thinking about how to make AI work for you, think about what you're already doing, what tasks you already have on your plate, and then how you can use AI to get those tasks done. So you're kind of flipping the script here. Rather than thinking, how do I learn to make this tool do these things? You're looking at the things that you already do and seeing how you can apply that technology to make that work easier and more efficient for your businesses and your organizations. I am not going to add anything to your to-do list. I'm going to try not to do that. Instead, today's workshop is going to be focused on that list that you just thought about, that you're writing about. What are the things that are sucking away my time, things that are really bogging me down? And then how can I use artificial intelligence to get through that faster? So here's the agenda, and again, I only have 39 minutes today, and normally this session is a full 90 minutes. But I'm going to talk a little bit about AI, artificial intelligence. I'm not going to do a deep dive into how it works. I'm sure there's lots of workshops, and probably most of you already have some familiarity with that, but I'll give you a very brief overview of AI. And then I'm going to introduce you to a prompt framework. And the reason I'm particularly interested in this piece is that it is, well, while I am here from Google and the Grow with Google program, it is not specific to Google's AI tools. It will help you no matter what AI tools you are using. So I think that everybody who's attending today's workshop should be able to leave with actionable information that can help you get more from all of the tools that you're using. And then I'll close up with some resources to help you keep up that momentum and help you keep learning more. Does that sound okay? All right, good. All right, can everybody hear me? So I feel fine now, but if any of y'all live in this area or from the South, you know how bad allergies are. So yes, so if I sound like I'm drowning in a head cold, I'm not going to get you sick. It's just that I've been neti potting away trying to get my throat clear for y'all today. All right, so we're going to get right into our first topic, which is AI. So today I'm here from Google, so I am talking, the reference that I'm using is a tool called Gemini. How many of you have used Google Gemini? Oh my goodness, that's the biggest show of hands I've ever seen in a room so far, so yay. So usually it's maybe half less, but for everyone who didn't raise their hands, Gemini is Google's AI tool. You can think of it as an AI-powered assistant, and you can use this tool to basically help you with anything that you want to do. And it's truly a matter of your imagination at hand, at whatever you want it to apply it to. I'm trying to think of some recent examples of the ways that I've used it. And it's been everything from drafting introductory remarks at a a legislative session that we had to do where I had to write the remarks for a VIP who was presenting, to actually looking at a PDF of a brochure for a flyer for a fundraising event that we were having. And I put the PDF into the AI tool, and it analyzed it and gave me suggestions for way to make improvements. Another thing that I had to do is I hosted a brunch. I work for a nonprofit back in Nashville, and I had a brunch at my house where I had the whole staff. And it was the most amazingly difficult brunch I had to run because I had almost 20 people, and I had vegans, vegetarians, carnivores, nut allergies, shellfish allergies. I had all the things, and I'm a terrible cook. And I still had to run the meeting. So I used AI to help me figure out how to efficiently plan that menu, get the food that I needed, and get it all in order. So it's literally from the big things like remarks from politicians all the way down to planning brunches, you can use these tools for. So we're going to talk a little bit, just a little high level of AI. So what is AI? In a nutshell, it's a computer program that learns from data. And it uses that data to do things like make predictions, to make decisions. And one type of AI model that we're going to be talking about is called a language model or a large language model. And you can kind of think of these tools as tools that learn. It's like your spam filter in your email program. The more it learns about what's spam, what's junk, and what's not, the better it gets. It's the same with AI. And so large language models are part of what's being used for this new exciting development that is probably why you're all here, called generative AI, or Gen AI for short. And Gen AI has changed the game because now, unlike just a simple predictive type of technology, this type of technology can actually create novel content for you. And it's been a big game changer for businesses and organizations all over the place. So one caveat with that, and I was just chatting with the presenter who was in here before, and we were talking about his spouse actually works on responsible usage for AI in an AI playbook. One thing that's really important with this tool is that it is not replacing you. It is absolutely critical for all of the work that we do with artificial intelligence that we maintain the human in the loop approach. And that is us. That is simply us making sure that the work that we do, the output that we have, the way that we use it, the way that we apply that output in the world is responsible and monitored by humans. And one of the ways that we can do that is by using responsible and effective prompting. And that's what I'm going to be focused on today. I'm going to show you how to prompt and keep that human in the loop approach. So this is the focus of my class for the next 33 minutes. We're going to talk about prompting like a pro. And this applies to every tool, not just Google Gemini. All right, so whether you're so a lot of you have already used Gemini, so I'm assuming you're familiar with the concept of prompting. Prompting is basically asking, it's like, you can think of it as a conversation starter with the AI tool. It's asking it to do something for you. And a lot of times people, it's kind of like doing a Google search. How many of you actually ever studied how to do a Google search? So one, and that's usually true. There's usually one or two people that studied how to do a Google search. But in general, most people just kind of wing it and they figure it out and do it on the fly. But with AI prompting, with Gen AI prompting, there's actually a formula that's really going to help you do it better. Now, the first time I did this, started using AI tools, I am an old dog. And I've been in this industry for a long time, and the first time I typed something in, I was like, oh man, this is so dumb. It didn't give me anything that I wanted. I may as well write this thing myself. I've been in marketing for 25 years. I just wasted all this time. The fact was I didn't know how to use the tool yet. And it is still just a computer program. It can't read my mind. So I have to be able to learn how to actually tell the tool to give back to me what it is that I'm trying to get. And that is the essence of today's class and what we're trying to do. All right, so we're going to talk about prompting. And prompting is, again, giving specific instructions to the AI tool to tell it what it is that you want it to do for you. And a prompt has, whoops, here it is, wasn't going forward. So the prompt basically has these different elements and these different components. And you can think of it almost like ad-libs if you've ever done that, or mad-libs rather. So you want to think about your prompt as asking you with a task, operating as a persona, as a level or a specific view of expertise. You're asking the AI tool to give you the results in a particular format, and then you're going to give it context. I'll go into more detail in a minute, and then you give it some references. And so if it should actually be in your handout, so you don't have to write this down. So you should have all of those prompts in there. There's also a handout that has this written. But if you didn't have that printout, I would probably encourage you to take the picture of this one slide. Because if you have these 5 elements inside your prompt, then you have what you need, your starting point to get a good output. So let's start with this. Let's start with the task. So the task is, I'm sorry, going back? Go back, all right? Take a picture. All right, good. So the task is telling the AI tool what you want it to do. So do you want it to write a short article? Do you want to have it create a list of 10 ideas for an icebreaker activity? Do you want it to write intro remarks for the GEC in Indiana 2025? Do you want it to create a draft of an email welcoming new employees? And truly, the sky is the limit here. You should try to be as specific as you can with whatever it is that you want it to do. Now, here's the other thing that's important. You want it to operate from a certain level of expertise. So, as an example, you are a marketing executive for a high-tech company. You are the manufacturer of these goods, and your company is based in India. You are a marketing expert with 15 years experience specific to exporting from Europe to other parts of the world. So take the expertise and put that in there and tell Gemini or whatever AI tool who they are and how they should be talking to you. That informs the output. It informs the perspective on that output and who it's going to be generated for. Now, also tell it what you want. Do you want a 3-page article? Do you want a bulleted list? Do you want a table? Do you want an image? Do you want an infographic? So tell it how you want to see the results of that task as presented by that persona. Now, this one is the most important part, and this was the part that I was missing when I first started prompting. I want you to start by thinking of the sentence, or start with the sentence like this. You should know that. And then everything else that goes along with that, that's a really important part. You should know that my business is in startup mode. You should know that my business is 10 years old. You should know that I have a very difficult board of directors that needs to approve everything months in advance. You should know that I have had difficulties importing and exporting to these countries. Anything that you can give it to help it understand the challenges that should be associated with that task will be really useful in giving you better output. Does that make sense? Another thing, and I should preface this way, I'm doing this as a recipe here, but it does not have to be in this order. So you can write any of these elements in the prompt in any way that you want when you are actually writing it. But generally speaking, more is more here. The more context you can give it, the better the output is going to be. Now, if we were doing this as a workshop, I'm supposed to have you type in one sentence at a time and then wait and see what you get at the end. But we're just here together at some tables. So just imagine, if you haven't done this before, try this after the class when you're in front of your computer. Now, this one is super handy if you have it. Here's another thing that's pretty useful. It's this concept of references. Now, you may or may not have this available to you. For example, if you were planning an event like today's conference, this Congress, and you really, really like the way that they did their social media posts, or they did their flyers, or they did their welcome invitations, what you could do is you could take examples of how the Congress did it, and you could upload it to the AI tool and say, use the GEC welcome email as a reference when creating my invitation for my upcoming event. And you can apply that to anything you want. It can be a flyer, it can be a blog post, it can be an email, it can be a manual for employee practices, whatever it is that you're trying to write. And so again, it's not going to replace the work. You still need to do the work and proof what's coming out, but you're giving it a starting point, basically by giving it an example. And again, you know, I did this just a few weeks back where I uploaded a PDF of the flyer and it gave me some output, and I was actually working in a tool that it's called Canva, that you may be familiar with, and I edited in Canva, and then I exported another PDF, and then I uploaded my next draft, and I ran it through Gemini again, and it gave me more suggestions, and I iterated about 6 times until I found the perfect flyer for me and for the event. And it's really nice because it's kind of like having that thought partner to work with you and to help prove things. Now, at the same time, we all know that all AI tools are not perfect. They are not human. And I still found things that I needed to change afterwards. So don't forget that human in the loop approach is still critically important, and you need to proof everything that you do, that you create. Okay. So now, once you do all those things, you get to the next step, and it's really important. You need to evaluate your output, and you need to ask yourself a few questions. First of all, did it meet your goals? Did you get what you needed to? And take it from me, if you didn't get it on the first time, that is okay. That is absolutely normal. It is an iterative process. Oftentimes, you will run through these things many, many times until you get the results that you want. The second thing that you need to look for and ask is this information accurate? I'll show you another tool today that I really like. Actually, I'll do them both. But oftentimes, you'll see where there is an annotation. And when you get the output, you'll see a little link, and it'll show you where it extracted that information. So you can cross-reference and say, okay, I'm not sure about that. Where did you get that? Where is that coming from? I will say, anecdotally, and this is just for me, and I'm kind of curious for y'all, so if you were to compare AI tools now, generally, to the usage like even 6 months, a year ago, I am seeing far fewer hallucinations in general. Do you guys agree? I'm seeing that. Like, the tools are learning and they're getting better. So a lot of those mistakes that we were seeing, we're seeing fewer of them. However, the onus is still upon us as those humans in the loop to make sure that we are proofing and checking for those errors. Okay, so now we've gone through does it meet the goals? Is it accurate? And the third question is it useful? And if it's not, then that is a clue for you to go back and change it. And there are some pretty simple steps that you can take to iterate, and they really do make a difference. One of the first things that you should do is go back and revisit that framework. So you took a photograph of that framework in the beginning. Go back and ask yourself, okay, here are the 5 pieces that I know will generally make a prompt more effective. Do I have all of those pieces included? And if you don't, you can go in and add them. Now with Google Gemini, you can actually build on your prompt. So if you forgot something or you weren't clear on something, you can then add more detail without having to do the whole thing over again. And depending on the AI tool that you're using, that may be the same case for you. The next thing that you can do is look at it and say, okay, well, I wrote that thing and it has all those elements in there, but it's a really long run-on sentence or bunch of sentences. And so another technique that seems to really help AI tools give a better output is to break it up into shorter sentences. So if you're not getting what you want, split it up. And even if it doesn't read very well from, I was an English literature and journalism major, it may not read well, but as long as it's clear, like this is piece 1, piece 2, piece 3, piece 4, it can really help. Okay, so this is another weird one. If I had said to the AI tool, help me write a marketing plan, right? That seems pretty clear, but it may not actually give you what you're looking for. And you're like, well, you looked back and you're like, I did all the things that Stasia told me to. I don't know what I'm missing. Another thing that you can try is to actually just switch some of the vocabulary. So instead of saying, help me write a marketing plan, help me write a marketing strategy, help me write a business plan, help me promote this product. So I'm basically saying the same thing. I'm asking it to do essentially the same task. But sometimes just by changing a few of the words, your AI tool will give you better and different output. So that happens a lot, and that is something that you should experiment with no matter what AI tools that you are using. And another thing that you could do is you could try adding constraints to your output or limits. And so it might be that you asked it to write a welcome email, but it's really, really long. And you're like, okay, no one's going to read that. The next thing you could do is say, hey, that's great. Now make it 500 characters or less. Or summarize that document into 1 page. Or create that as one small infographic. I can give you an example of one way that this was used recently. I was presenting in the state of Georgia to the Chamber of Commerce, and the CEO of the chamber had to go over to meet with the lawmakers in Georgia about some new legislation that was being proposed that would definitely impact the business members in his organization. And unfortunately, the meeting was happening in less than an hour, and the legislation that just came across his desk was about 500 pages long. So he had to go and discuss it. He's like, oh boy, what am I going to do? So what he did is he took that PDF, he uploaded it to Google Gemini, he added the prompt, and he asked the tool to give him a quick summary of the legislation and its potential impacts on businesses in Georgia. And it did. It gave him that information. Now, it did not replace the fact that he did later have to go and read a lot of that bill. He read through that PDF later, but it gave him a quick leg up to be able to go and speak intelligently at that meeting that was planned in less than an hour. So you can use it in ways like this to help you in a pinch when you need to. And those constraints, you could say, I need the top 5 takeaways. I need a 1-page document. I need a quick summary. I need an introductory blurb. Whatever it is that you need, those constraints can really help you. Okay, any questions so far? Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the question was about security. If you are using, and I'll say this for any open AI tool. If you are using a free AI tool, I would never put personally identifiable or sensitive information into any open AI tool. Now, if you are using a business product that has a business terms of service, that has a business license on it, for whatever product you use, you should check to see what their security policies are and make sure that they're in compliance with your business and your organization. The paid version of Google Gemini follows the compliance rules and the security rules for Google's paid products and services. So that is the one that I use for any kind of business case stuff. But in general, if you are just using the open public version of Gemini, again, don't put information out there that is sensitive. Okay. One thing to note, now if we were doing this in a workshop style setting, one thing that I would be asking y'all to do is to start writing down your prompts. One thing that's kind of a pain in the butt, like we just went through that framework and there were a lot of different pieces to it, right? And so imagine in your workflow, in your day, that there are going to be times when you are going to be maybe not writing the exact same prompt, but there will be certain similarities. It'll be from the same persona, or the context will be similar if not the same, or you might have the same references. So one of the things that you can do is create your own personal prompt library. In some cases, for example, with Gemini, you can create something that's called a gem. And basically, I have one where when I am operating in my nonprofit executive director hat, I have that saved as a gem so I can start the conversation knowing that, hey, this is me and this is where I am and this is what I do. But if I didn't have that technology or I didn't have that ability in a different AI tool, it could simply be a Word document, it could be a Google document, it could be any kind of word processing document where I've written down all of those elements that I started when I constructed my prompt. So I don't have to recreate the wheel every single time. I just copy and paste, hey, this is who you are and this is a persona and this is the task and blah, blah, blah. And then you update it for whatever particular prompt you need at that given moment. It will be a huge time saver for you. And as your prompts get better and better over time, you should start to save them so you can be more efficient with this, okay? So prompt library is the next thing. You don't want to have to start doing this from scratch every single time. Now, another thing about AI tools and Gen AI is that many of them are built for multimodality. Gemini is built for multimodality. That means that you can input one type, one format, and it can create others. For example, did you guys hear that music that I was playing in the beginning? So I actually described some music that I wanted to hear into an AI tool called Music FX from Google, and it created that fun music that you heard in the beginning that was playing in that audio file. So depending on the tool, you can have it create images and music and video and code. So that is this concept of multimodality. And you're going to start to see it more and more in different AI tools that you use. And you know, even now, like I'm using it for goofy things. Well, I have a team of people, and I am lucky that the nonprofit I work with works with animals, lots of baby animals. So you can just imagine all of the graphics and funny images and cute things that I can come up with. I'm a genius. It's actually not me. It's just the AI tool. I'm like, make a funny raccoon handing me a cup of coffee. And then the tool will magically make it for me. But it really is handy when you need to create things on the fly. It does not replace your graphic design team. It does not replace your photographer, but it can be used as a thought starter. It can be used as an idea to jumpstart those and generate those ideas. So I will go back to my team and say, hey, here are some concepts of some of the things that I'd like to see on our next event or for our next flyer. And here's a good start that you can create by using Gemini. Okay, So if this were a lab, I would be showing this to you. But I have a few limitations. For example, I can't type on the computer. So I'm just going to have to skip this unless the AV people team, if we have time at the end, we'll skip to it. And I can show you how to upload it. But the activity that I was going to show you was this example business called Harmonious Hues. And what the challenge was is this is a new business and we've onboarded 30 new employees, and you want to quickly write a welcome email that has some really important overviews and important stuff for them to know from an HR perspective, or tips for working at new clients' properties and things like that. And as an example, tying into that prompt, into that multimodal framework that we talked, the multimodality that we just talked about, what I'd have is a PDF of an employee manual. I upload it into Gemini, and then we would construct a prompt that said, using the attached PDF, which is the reference, and then I would give the context of I am the company, I own Harmonious Hues. I would give it a task of writing that email. My audience would be new employees, and you're writing as a friendly, welcoming business owner. And then the tool would then go through that PDF and then create that email for you. So if you haven't tried something like that, give it a shot after today's session. It's pretty mind-blowing how much time it can actually save you. Now again, it does not replace the work. You will still need to go and make some edits and help put it in your own voice and probably make a few changes, but it gives you a really good start. Okay, I have 10 minutes left, and I am so excited to introduce my new favorite AI tool. I think that, I'll tell you what it is. It's called Notebook LM. Has anybody here used it before? Okay, far fewer hands. For the people in the room who haven't used it, this is the tool. If there's nothing else that I leave you with from this class, please, please try this out. I think that this is going to be a transformative tool for many businesses and organizations. And I'm going to show you a video in a second, because I think in some cases, hearing is better than actually describing what it is. But in a nutshell, it is a tool that allows you to create a closed set of sources. So instead of going to Gemini or an AI tool and saying, write me a blog post about how to get started doing business in the state of Indiana, instead, you would go and you would get all of your PDFs from government sources or the Chamber of Commerce or other trusted sources that you wanted to refer to about business law and practice and information and tips about doing business in Indiana. You would upload it to your notebook that you created, which is private, and then you would use that set of data to then work with it. Does that make sense? So it's not everywhere, it's your closed set. And you can keep it private to yourself, you can share it with a small set of colleagues or a large set of people, however you choose. So let's take a look at this business. I actually met this guy. So sometimes when you do these workshops and events, you're like, all right, how do I know this is a real person? Like, how are you just making this up? No, this is legit a real business. This guy, Mike, who I met a month ago, I met him in DC, he owns a business in Chicago, Illinois. And they have 3 coffee shops. And it's a really interesting concept. It's a coffee shop that also builds and repairs bicycles. So they're called heritage bikes. They're made in the USA. You get your bike there, you buy your bike there, and you drink really good coffee while you get your bike tuned up. So that's it. And he is using Notebook LM as an internal resource for his employees. All right, guys, you ready, AV team? Let's see if the video works. Here goes nothing.
Business owner, my time is limited. So I use AI to help me create efficiencies throughout the business. Here's how I use AI to make communicating employee policies easier. in order for me to be efficient with my time, it was incumbent on me to find the resources available for my employees to have on hand. I would spend my time explaining and re-explaining policies and procedures to new employees. Previously, we'd have notebooks on site. Those would get lost. You'd have procedures you put in place that are then updated by the city of Chicago. I realized that Notebook LM would be an amazing tool to help with this issue. So we took the documents we already had existing in Google Drive. We would upload them straight into Notebook LM. Now we have 30, 40 different procedures and policies now in a notebook. From there, we send it off to employees. Now they can ask questions to Notebook LM directly. For example, if a new employee comes on board and asks, hey, how much time do we get up? What is the PTO policy? These things are kind of nuanced. It takes time to explain, but they can now ask the questions in Notebook, which is giving them answers based on the files that we uploaded. Now I can create the policy and get it out to people in a matter of minutes. I can't count how much time it's going to save me in the future.
So imagine the tasks that you have with your team, whether that's a team that you manage, or it's with new people that you're hiring in your organization, or it's with a set of people who are doing, tech support. Think about all of the resources that those people need to refer to and ask to. What you would do in Notebook LM is you would go and you would upload it into your notebook, and the URL is notebooklm.google.com. And then you would upload those sources, and then you'd see them appear on the left-hand side of the interface. I can't do a live demo, otherwise I'd show you, but if you get in there, you'd see it. The sources will be on the left. And in the center well, it looks like your AI tool. That's where you actually type your prompt. And then whoever is using that notebook can ask information from that into the prompt, and it pulls from those sources. It will also annotate the answers so it can show you exactly from where it pulled that information to get that answer. It is a huge time saver. I mean, if you've got a college student at home, it can help them study for and prepare for material. Just start thinking about all of the millions of ways that you can use this tool to help you. Another thing that I like about this tool is that, and this thing is new. You will still see things that say beta on it, is that it is starting to grow. It is now available in, more than 200 countries and more than 50 languages. So as an example, you could upload documents that happen to be in English, and then you could go and change the settings for your notebook to a different language. You could have it set to Hindi. And then what would happen is you could ask questions, and the answers would be exported and presented in the language that you set. So you can use it in different ways for different, if you're working across different borders. Another thing that's really, really useful, and it is again a beta feature, is that not every person learns the same way. Some people would absolutely hate the session. They would rather go and then read all of the stuff in Google's Help Center and get all of this information than to attend an in-person session. That's great. That's how some people learn. Some people can't read. They are auditory learners. So another new feature that you will find inside Notebook LM is the ability to listen to it as an audio book, an audio output. And they call it audio overviews. For legal reasons, I can't call it a podcast. But if you are familiar with the term podcast, it is similar to that, but it is called an audio overview. And basically what it does, try it out. It's really amazing. And I don't use adjectives very often, but it kind of blows me away. What it does is it takes all of those sources, that information that you uploaded, and then there are two guests or hosts of this audio overview. And they will actually create, the technology creates an audio overview that reviews all of the information in a conversational style that goes through the highlighted points of all of those documents. You can actually download that audio overview. So I could have downloaded it and listened it on my 6-hour car ride to get to this session today. 6 hours because I did stop and get a coffee. And there was traffic. But that's another way that you can actually access and learn information from Notebook LM. And the latest feature that I really love, for any one of you who have tried it, if you haven't checked this out yet, there's actually this new ability where you can interrupt the audio overview. You can actually press a button and stop the people, the hosts, and say, hey, hang on, I have a question about this policy on paid time off. Can you help me with this? And they'll answer it, they'll pull it from those sources. So we're seeing new things launch every single day, but it's basically giving different people different ways to learn and get the information that they want. So this is the tool that I'm really excited about, and I hope that you can have an opportunity to explore and really get to use in your businesses and in your organizations. Okay, the tools that I've showed you are starting to save businesses lots of time. In fact, a poll showed that on average in the United States, small to medium-sized businesses are saving on average 13 hours every week thanks to AI tools. And so again, it is not replacing the work, it is helping us speed up our work, become more efficient. So imagine all of the things, imagine that to-do list, imagine all of those projects and initiatives that you've been putting off because you simply don't have enough time. What would you do if you could reclaim those 13 hours back? Again, with AI, you need to be responsible. You need to assess the output. You need to consider the effects. And when you are using AI, disclose that to your clients and to anyone that you're working with that you are using those AI tools. And always check with your organization to make sure that you are complying with the policies. And my one ask for you today is to don't just take a class and then just leave it. Keep your momentum going. I really encourage you to try some of the things that I learned today, and I'm really excited to see what you'll do next. We have some trainings at grow.google/AI. If you want to learn more, there's a class on prompting and a class on the basics and fundamentals of AI. And start a new habit. Just start today. Oh, going back, here it is. Grab a picture. All right, 5 seconds, and then, yep, there's that. And then here it is. If you guys liked my class, if you have a minute, take a picture of this and tell them that I wasn't terrible. If you thought I was terrible, just go to lunch. But thank you all so very much for welcoming me to your conference in Indiana. I hope that you guys learned something today. And if you have any questions, I'll be here for at least the next hour. So thank you all so very much.